Okay, everybody. Thanks for attending. I really appreciate it. Welcome to this DMI University webinar called LIFT, which is not going to be about weightlifting and muscle hypertrophy, but it actually is, in fact, about life insurance as a financial tool. So today we're going to discuss how to minimize taxes or cut fat and maximize assets or build muscle with IUL. So, but I have to give a quick commercial here for those of you that don't know who DMI is or who Nexus is. With us, with DMI, your success is our success. So it's important that we build long-term relationships with those that we serve and find ways to elevate your practice by educating you on the products and the sales solutions that matter. I know Nexus feels the same way. So today we're presenting with a special, very, very special like-minded partner we have in Nexus. They are the leading independent product design and distribution company in America. And we're lucky enough to be one of the few approved IMOs to distribute Nexus products. So for our agents and advisors, this is a very distinct advantage when it comes to their product suite, being able to offer some of the most innovative products available. But with that being said, another reason why we like working with the Nexus is just simply because of Mr. Stephen Poppy. And we really appreciate him being here today. He's done a number of webinars with us in the past. You've probably seen him before. But so on with the show. And not only do we have Stephen here, but we also have our very own Joshua Rhem, fantastic life sales VP with over 15 years experience. And you can call him Josh. We're going to be pretty interactive with the way we go back and forth between Josh and Stephen. And also want to let you know, you're very welcome to use the Q&A function, the chat function. We're also going to have some polls going out during the presentation. Then afterwards, a survey for you to fill out. We just want to make sure that we're staying on point with the way we're delivering these. So actually, I was thinking I was going to hand it off to Josh, but I probably ought to hand it off to Mr. Stephen Poppy first, eh?
Yes. Thank you. When you said elevate your game, you should have said lift your game. We're going to lift your game today, right?
That's right. My mistake.
Yes, you had it, baby. You know, when you talk about elevation, I'm like, yeah, we got the elevator right here to lift it up. So welcome everybody.
By that much.
Yeah, I know, just a little bit. We're going to have some fun today. Josh, you've been practicing on YouTube videos, so we're going to do a YouTube video here, Glenn. So thank you for the nice introduction. I'm happy to be here. Great team to be working with. Josh and I thought we'd start off a little bit by just kind of maybe covering a Nexus just briefly. We're going to talk more about this sales concept lift here in a minute, which really is meant to help you make more sales, help your clients, help them understand what IUL can do for them. But in the beginning here, we just want to make sure we kind of cover the basics and talk about a Nexus. So as Glenn said, a Nexus means joining or bringing together. And what do we bring together? Well, first we bring together DMI. We bring together Josh, Maureen, and the team. This is we are a product development company, that's for sure. First and foremost, we are the designer of the product. We're here in Scottsdale, Arizona. We're about 20 years old. Actually, fun fact, our founder, Ron Schertz, hit the gavel 2 days ago to close the New York Stock Exchange. So that was a proud moment for a Nexus. So we think of ourselves first and foremost as a product development team, a design team here at Nexus. Secondly, we build our products through strategic partnerships like DMI. We also work with who's who on Wall Street. And we have we have an actuarial firm we work with. And then, of course, as Glenn so aptly said, this is a limited access product. It's an exclusive product. Only maybe 2%, 3% of all the advisors in the country have access to it. And because you're all working with Josh and DMI, that's why you have access to our product. So congratulations. We hope that gives you a tremendous advantage working with your clients in your practice. So just to kind of make it a little bit fun here, some people just have confusion over who a Nexus is. So we have this fun slide. Who doesn't love cars or who doesn't love Shelby? We're not the carrier, we're the designer of the product. So Shelby is a transformation company or a modifier. They take the average Mustang and they turn it into an iconic car, the Cobra Mustang. So what does a Nexus do? We do something similar. We don't have to reinvent IUL. IUL's been invented, but what we do is we just kind of strip it all the way down to its metal, to its chassis, like Shelby would do, and we rebuild it from ground up. There's 101 different innovations in but there's primarily two categories that we won't talk about today. We've talked about before. Josh knows the story. You can call me. But primary categories is greater efficiency in the product, number one, and number two, we want to pack it with power. So the indexes in our product are proprietary as well. So we're not the carrier, right? That's Securing or Nationwide. That's our partners there. We're not the distributor. That's DMI, right? We are the makers of the product, the designers of the product. So what drives our success, you guys? Glenn said it really early in the beginning, Glenn, thumbs up to you, is we feel the same way. We are nothing without people like you selling our products and helping your clients out. So thank you for your business. Thank you for thinking of us. That's where it all starts. So it's all about better consumer outcomes for us. If it doesn't benefit the consumer, we just don't do it at all. We want your client to win with our product. We want them to be happy. We want to put you in a position where you never have to apologize. We also won't talk about it today, but we talk a lot about, it's not about the illustration here at Nexus. We have an illustration, it's fine. We think of that more as a sales tool. We don't think of it as a place to really evaluate product. There's a different way to evaluate product besides illustration. And this, we do a lot of due diligence at Nexus. We do a lot of forecasting, stress testing. We also subcontract that out to make sure we build a legit product that's going to stand the test of time. So that's it. Today we're going to get into LIFT, life insurance as a financial tool. This product today that we're talking about, we're not talking about the product, but the Nexus itself, the IULs we make are specifically meant to grow money tax deferred and then give you a tax-free income vehicle. It's not a death benefit product. It has a death benefit that's true. Death benefit is needed. And why is it needed? It's needed for all the items on the screen, which I'm sure a lot of you are very well aware of. There's a lot of benefits of using IUL as a tool, and these are just a few of them. So hopefully that makes sense to you about who a Nexus is. And thank you for listening. I'm going to give it back to Josh.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're happy to have the Nexus partnership. It's all about putting ourselves in the best position to achieve our goals. We know we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what the market will actually do. We don't know what's going to happen in our clients' lives. So as advisors and agents and financial planners, we just try to build plans and use products that give us the best probability of success. And we feel that a Nexus provides those from a product standpoint. And we appreciate that. Now, besides products, we also focus mostly on solutions. So when it comes to using life insurance as a financial tool, as a solution, maybe you experience the same thing. Because I've been in the investment and insurance business for so long, most of my friends and family know what I do. So when I go to picnics or when I go to weddings, inevitably I get cornered by a friend or family member that says, "Hey, Josh, do you think this something is a good investment? Do you think this stock is a good investment? Do you think real estate's a good investment? Do you think life insurance and annuities are a good investment?" Now, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, come on, Uncle Mike, I'm off the clock. Can I just enjoy the picnic? That's what I want to say. But what I do tell them, and my response is the same to everybody who asks me, is this a good investment? I always tell them whether or not something is a good investment is relative to what you need the money for. I don't think there's any investment that is inherently good or bad. It depends on what you want the money to do for you. It depends on what your goals are. So when it comes to LIFT, when it comes to using life insurance as a financial tool, if your clients are telling you, or if your friends and family members at picnics and weddings are telling you that their goal is to protect their family or to protect their assets, if their goal is to supplement their retirement income in ways that can give tax advantage or tax-free income, or if their goal is to leave a lasting legacy, a lasting death benefit still, then oftentimes life insurance as a financial tool or LIFT is a very good investment option. And when we're talking about life insurance, we're talking about mainly permanent insurance that has the potential to accumulate cash value and can be used, yes, down the road, ultimately with a death benefit, but in the meantime can also be used to access that cash value for a number of purposes, but primarily in a way that can give you some tax advantages, some tax-free income when you tap into that cash value. So it is a powerful tool for the right goals and the right solutions. And I think I can speak for myself and all of my colleagues at DMI when we say, when we do these webinars and when we reach out to our advisors and agents on the phone, it's not just to sell you on the latest and greatest product. We do these and we keep in constant communication with our advisors and our agents to get to know you, to make sure that we're giving you solutions that are most relevant and useful to you and your clients. And then with that, we help you identify these opportunities to position these solutions so we can elevate your business and add even more compensation on top of what you might be already doing. So it's a very powerful solution. So for instance, we'll arm you with questions like these. These 5 questions to start off with are great conversation starters, great lift conversation starters to identify the opportunities and the needs that surely exist in your book of business and the clients that you sit in front of every day. Do I need life insurance? What type of policy is ideal for my family and circumstances? Is my current coverage enough to provide for my family if I die? I like 4 and 5. 4 is how can I ensure my family enjoys life at our current standard of living, not if I die, but also, if I live, how can my life insurance ensure that I have my current standard of living in retirement? And also what other benefits could enhance my policy? Again, if I live, we're not going to go into it today, but if I have a long-term care need, how can I maintain my current standard of living? How can using life insurance as a financial tool help me to maintain my current standard of living? Yes, if I die, but also if I live, how can I utilize that cash value and the awesome tax-free benefits that come along with that? So we will arm you with a number of tools that we'll talk about later. And also, Steve, you can talk to perhaps some of the tools that we have to quantify the life insurance need and other points along those lines.
Yeah, you bet, Josh. So this slide here is really part of the, part of the lift. And we're going to get into the lift. Excuse me, there I got something popped up on me. Excuse me. So we're going to get into what lift looks like in a minute. Lift is a sales tool that you can add to your illustrations. And it does a really great job with the color, the psychology, the format to really explain the benefits of IUL to your consumer. That's what this lift is going to be all about today, is just showing you these tools that are available and how to use them, how you can add them to your illustration. I'll show you that later, the illustration, show you what it looks like. We're going to show you on Maya Nexus, which Josh will give you access to later, what that looks like, how to do that. But part of it in the lift presentation, you'll see what type of the life insurance part, the cash needs part, if you will, and the death benefit part, right? You're seeing on the screen. So this product here is meant to be tax-deferred growth and tax-free income product. It's an accumulation product. But as Josh and I were talking about this presentation and planning, what happens is that if you can find a death benefit need for a client, most clients have a death benefit need. If you can tie in the death benefit as part of the sale, it can help you close the sale. It can give you that impending event that can help make the sale. Because if you're just selling it as an investment or as an income tool, it can be something that people may want to put off. And you just may sell it that way anyway. I'm just kind of giving you another idea to think about. You may sell it as an income tool. You can close off of that because that's important as well. But I just want to point out is that when I was selling, if I could find a need, then I had a chance to close. And if I didn't find a need, then I was just kind of selling. So that was the point we wanted to make here. This little part of the lift has a cash needs and income needs, find a need for the client on it. And you can use that to your advantage if you think it would be helpful. That makes sense, Josh?
No, that makes a lot of sense because you have to find the hot button, you have to find the hook in order to make it useful and beneficial to the client. And to that point, using life insurance as a financial tool has a number of hooks. That's the great part about it. So perhaps it's not necessarily a death benefit play always, but that is a hook. Now, to be sure, this is still life insurance. Even when we have an investment cash accumulation focus, this is still life insurance. Your clients are going to be making an investment. They're going to be making premium payments to an insurance company. But it's good that it's a life insurance policy for a couple of reasons. For one, because it's a life insurance policy, that means there are no income-based contribution limits. So for instance, you have that single client that's doing very well for him or herself. They maxed out their workplace contributions, but they're now making more than $100,000 or so, and their contributions to a Roth IRA are going to be limited. Or they're making more than $150,000 or so, and now they cannot contribute directly to a Roth IRA. So now you have a solution for them to invest in a policy that will give them the opportunity to look forward to tax-free income, much like what a Roth IRA could provide. But except with this, there's no income restrictions on how much you can contribute. There are no income-based restrictions on contributing to a life insurance policy as a financial tool. And when you look at how this premium breaks down, mortality, that's specifically an expense that's pretty unique to a life insurance policy. But like anything else, whether it's a sales charge, 12B1 fees, advisory charges, yes, expenses can be a draw on a product, right? On a draw on performance. But that's why if you go into life insurance as a financial tool, why we partner with Annexus and why we ask you to partner with us and consult with us is to make sure that you're using products that are built for performance. And what Annexus gives to us is products that have some of the lowest expenses in the industry and participation rates that can overcome some of the expenses that are typical with any type of investment, no matter what you choose to do. Now, it's also a life insurance policy in the sense that the IRS gets to decide what that means. And basically what they're saying is it's really based on premium. So what Uncle Sam will say, you're putting so much premium into this. Who are you trying to kid? This is no longer a life insurance policy. This is an investment. So we're going to take away those tax advantage features from you. So when it comes to funding it, that's why we want you to work with us too, to make sure you have a well-funded and well-designed policy that pushes up against those IRS limits without going above it, so that we can maximize cash value without losing the tax-favored characteristics of a life insurance policy. So we have great products, great solutions that can that are built for performance, and we can help you design a policy. And policy design and policy funding is very important. For instance, let's say someone is 10 years into a life insurance policy. The death benefit's $500,000, a solid death benefit. You're 10 years into it, and the cash value is $2,000. Ask yourself, is that a good design? Think about that for a second. You can even type yes or no into the chat. Is what I just described a good life insurance policy or design? Well, the answer is, it depends. If someone came to you and said, I really want a permanent death benefit, I'm just worried about death benefit, then maybe that is a good policy. But if they want to use life insurance as a financial tool, then you want to make sure you have the right product and it's designed correctly to maximize the cash value while satisfying the IRS's limits on their contributions. So that's something that we both DMI and Annexus partner with to make sure that you can do. So we want a well-funded policy. We want to design it correctly. Seems like there's a lot of moving parts. It's more simple than you think. It's just focusing on what the client wants to solve for. What are their goals? All right. Does that make sense, Steve?
Yeah, it makes great sense. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah. And to that point too, it's not a death benefit play, but as Steve said earlier, the death benefit is still there. And we don't want to, even if we have this great cash accumulation, we don't want to minimize the death benefit. As an investment advisor, about 10 years ago, my colleagues and I, we really didn't focus on life insurance. But if you stay in the business long enough, your clients, you'll experience clients who pass away. And I think it was Mike Tyson who said, everybody has a plan until you get punched. Yeah. And I had a couple of instances where we had this punch in the gut moment where one of our clients died suddenly. And I guarantee you the plans change when someone passes away. And that's when I realized mutual funds don't have a death benefit. So it's not a death benefit play, but it is really nice when you built up this cash value and maybe you had $100,000 cash value, performed extremely well, but the owner passes away. And now we have this perhaps $200,000 death benefit and this new tax-free asset to go back to the drawing board and plan accordingly from that point forward. So there is a death benefit feature. You have to meet with your clients and decide what that hook is, what's important to them, and decide how to position the features best based on who's sitting across the table from you.
Hey, Josh, that was really well said. I will add to that. That's all true. Been there many times, but also because it has a death benefit, when you borrow out of it, at the end, that loan does not become a taxable event because there's a death at the end that takes care of that. So the death benefit is very strategic also, and how in the performance and the construction of what it can do for your clients as well. The death benefit is a very, very important feature for if you die prematurely. It's also a very important feature on the construction of the product when you start borrowing against it.
Very good.
Makes sense. Good.
That's right.
Yep.
And that
Guys-
speaks to, I think it's Gerard's question. Yes, in that scenario, and that was kind of an extreme scenario. Yes, in that scenario, you probably would look at other types of life insurance policies. Maybe an IUL isn't the best in that scenario, but again, it depends on what your client says. And then based on that, we could help you decide what is the best design and what product is the best based on who's sitting across the table from you specifically. Good question, Gerard. Thank you.
Yep. You may do multiple
me.
policies, Gerard. Yep.
Yes,
Maureen.
good, Maureen.
Hi, David has raised his hand, so I think he might have a question.
No, I'm sorry. I'm driving, so I'm listening to you. I must have hit the wrong button. Sorry.
That's okay. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Drive safe.
We don't know. Hey, we don't know where you're going. Maybe that was the question. Hey, do you guys know where my client's house is?
Well, hope we're going to do some business, David. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
Maureen, if you want to continue to just call those chat Q&As out or raise hands along the way, I think we're doing okay on time. We don't want to keep them all day, but I think we have some time to address those along the way. Ultimately, though, the key to appreciating life insurance as a financial tool is understanding the benefit of the cash value accumulation. It can be used for a number of reasons. We think mostly about the tax-free income it can provide in the income phase in retirement. And that is certainly one of the biggest things that we see being solved for when we design policies like this. It's hugely important, but even as an opportunity reserve. So in the course of my career, I've had people come and say, hey, I think I want to buy a house for my kids or help with a down payment. Can I pull that out of my traditional IRA? Well, you got to go to see if there's some exclusions for the 59.5 rule to see if you can do that without penalty. Typically, you got to be a first-time home buyer and it has to be your home to be able to do that. But you got to consult the exclusions. And then even if there is an exclusion in regards to a traditional IRA, that just gets you out of the 10% penalty before 59.5. It doesn't avoid taxes. So for the life events along the way, it is a great opportunity reserve, the best source for an opportunity reserve to where you won't experience taxes or penalties or any restrictions. 529 plans are great too. Those are great college funding tools that can be a tax-free benefit for that. But then you also got to think, hey, is this a qualified education expense? Or what if my kid doesn't want to go to college? What if he becomes a movie star at age 18? Hopefully he'll go back to college at some point. But what do I do in that situation? You got to think about those restrictions. When you use life insurance as a financial tool, this opportunity reserve that you built up, you don't got to consult qualified expenses. You don't got to consult any exceptions to any rules. That is your money to tap into as you go along. Supplementing retirement income, though, again, is huge in terms of the tax-free income that it can provide. So again, it can be used before 59.5, doesn't affect Social Security income, no required minimum distributions, doesn't affect your Medicare Part B premiums. It's an excellent tool that can grow cash value. You have the death benefit that's there if you need it, and you can utilize it for any number of reasons. And again, you balance the design based on what's important to them. And that's what we can help you do. We can help you look like a rock star when you achieve, two goals in one by building a very effective IUL design. Any thoughts on that, Steve?
Yeah, really well said, Josh. Really well said. It's just a great tool. I mean, you can use it for a lot of different circumstances. It becomes very handy. It's just another, we find people are buying it. Life insurance is an asset class. They're buying it for certain kind of clients are buying it for income, like you said. The American College points out that people are not buying enough income-producing products. That might be a tool for them. It can be help you with the sequence of risk event. It can come in handy a lot. It could be a great place for cash. It just has a lot, like anything. Money has a lot of uses, and it's just another very creative place to save money for whatever may come down the road.
Yes. And ultimately, and we're not going to go through all these slides. I think time is better spent showing, before we let you guys go, a specific illustration. And then also where you can find these tools and resources. But I'll end this this presentation portion of it by saying, one thing I'd always ask my client is what does the perfect investment look like? What would a perfect investment be? Well, it would be liquid. It would have a high rate of return. It would have some guarantees. And it would have some tax advantages. No one investment can have all of those characteristics. And if somebody tells you I got this investment that does all those things, run the other way because it's probably a scam. So what you do is you utilize a number of investments, a number of products so that your portfolio reflects that perfect investment. So just take an inventory of what your clients have in their toolbox or in their portfolio. It's not just about asset class diversification, stocks, bonds, cash. You also want to diversify the product types and the account types that you're using so that you're realizing growth, you're realizing some liquidity, and then also you're realizing the tax advantages that life insurance as a financial tool can provide. All right.
Josh, let's cruise over to INXS and show them the lift information. Want to do that?
Yeah. So let me stop sharing.
Yep.
Now go to.
There you go. Good job.
Okay. Here's the website for Lyft, and on here you'll find a number of tools. And yeah, do you want to speak to it, Steve? I can scroll.
Yeah, I can. Sure. Yeah. So this is my INXS, and my INXS is something that Josh can invite you to and get you set up for. And this is where you're going to find a lot of our product information, a lot of our marketing material, a lot of information about our products. There's also at my INXS. But here in part of my INXS is an area called Lyft. And in here, you'll find a lot of tools that will help you help your clients. So over here, you'll see on the left, you'll see the financial guide. But I'm going to show you the illustration because Lyft is a sales presentation that you can put on on our product when you're presenting it. Okay. And so this is a way of really kind of communicate to the client all the things Josh just did a great job of communicating. So you'll see in here, there's client presentation, for example. I'll show you that. There's a professional guide. You guys might want to end up doing a Lyft seminar. So there's an invitation right here. There's a PDF you can see there on the left. Of course, there's a consumer brochure. Maybe click that consumer brochure, Josh. That might be fun to look at. There you go. So this is Lyft here. This is what you'll have on top of your illustration. And if you just kind of go down, you see the colors are awesome. You know, the pictures are good, you know, and maybe just stop there for a minute. And, you know, what I would say to you is, you know, my dad used to say, you know, Steve, accountants like numbers and lawyers like words and salespeople like pictures. So, you know, here's some good pictures for you. So it does a good job of just communicating what their needs are, what their issues are in a really easy manner to understand. Yep, you can go on, Josh. That's good. Thank you. And then what I like this one a lot, this is a real, you know, important one. It shows you just the benefits that life insurance has. It's a unique financial tool. It's not the only tool. It may not be the best tool for every client, but definitely solves some problems, has some unique features. So really in a nice, easy format, it can really help you start communicating to the client why you're making this recommendation or what it can do for them. Okay, maybe just go a little bit further, Josh, and you can see it just talks about what Josh talked about, the different components, the death benefit, the payments, the cash value, the different opportunities you can do with it. Life insurance is you know, it talks about the life stages. Some of these you may use, some of the you may not. Yeah, that's good. All right. So yeah, just go back. So, and you know, I like also there's a fact finder there, Josh, maybe just one more down or two more down. Really cool. Really, I'm a big fact finder person. I like that. So, you know, when you're trying to figure out if people need income or how much income they need, when we're talking about creating a need, so when we're talking about creating a need for somebody to make a sale, I was taught early on, Steve, sell the need, find the need, sell the need. So this can help you have the client see they're, you know, looking to the future. Besides Social Security, maybe they have a pension. It's just a great place to do inventory and just to figure out, are they going to have a shortfall in retirement? So that this is a nice little thing. So you're going to look at these over. Let's go back, Josh. You look these over, see if you can find some stuff you like. The retirement income gap is cool. I talked about people buy this product for the sequence of return risks. You know, you can use a calculator. We don't typically do that much, but you can see now what Lyft looks like, where it's at. And Josh, maybe scroll up a minute real quick. And so if you go back to maybe just my INXS, can you go back there? And also I want to point out here, this is not, does not have our name on it, Lyft. Okay, it's just part of Securion's website. You'll see here also, so this is just my INXS. And in here, you're going to say to me, well, where do you find it? Well, it's right there. So if you go up a little bit more, Josh, you'll see there's my INXS. You'll see where Lyft is right there for you. And then, of course, our product, there's some, you know, tools there in the yellow there. The BGA is the Securian product. You got tools and you got access tools and resources there as well. You got any questions, anybody so far?
Hey, Maureen, I think I saw a couple questions. Were there a couple questions?
I did see one come through and it asks, does Lyft cost more?
Good question. No, it doesn't. It's just an illustration. So when you're running the illustration, it's just a sales presentation you can put on. You're just regular everyday IUL illustration. You can add that on. And here, that's a good question here. Let me see what I can do here to take control, Josh. I'm going to share my screen, Josh. Is that okay? I got it here. I'm going to share my screen right there. Share. So right here to answer that question, this is the Lyft presentation we just went over. So the answer is no, it does not cost more. And here, this is what it looks like. Talks about life insurance, might be the missing tool in a financial toolbox. Has a lot of great talking points. The different advantages that products have. There's nothing wrong with any of them. Like Josh said in the beginning, they all serve a purpose, have a well-designed plan. You talk to the client what it does, the mechanics like Josh went over a little bit ago. And then what we really love here is just the illustrations below this, and I'll show you maybe a little bit of it. But so of course the illustration is something that has to be signed, and we have to, disclose that to our consumer, to our clients. But what I have found, and a lot of people, it's not me, but what the people we work with, advisors like you tell us, is that, it's a lot easier through this summary page here that Lyft has to communicate what they're doing here. So it just shows the premium that went in. It shows their cash value at different times, their death benefits, and it's just showing them their income opportunity. So this becomes, instead of getting into the minutia of the illustration, of course you're going to cover that. But what I really like about this Lyft is you can also have this summary here just to go over what you're trying to communicate to the client. And then if you just go down a little bit, then it just starts getting into more of the illustration itself. So Lyft is just a sales presentation that has a lot of collateral with it on Maya Nexus that you can use and then add to your illustration. So here's the illustration now, and Lyft was just the front part. So you can get into the illustration or not, but the point of the call is just to communicate with you what Lyft can do. It's a part of the sales process it can be, and a great tool to help communicate to the client why they're buying the product. And there's a lot of collateral, maybe finding the need, fact finder, doing a webinar, and that's all available because you're working with DMI, you're working with Josh, and you have access to Maya Nexus and start your process there.
Steve, along those lines, we do have a couple of questions. And one is from David Allen, would like to know, does he have to be working with a certain broker to access Lyft? Or, does it have to be a broker that sells a Nexus?
Yes, it has to be with our DMI, yes. It has to be one of our distribution partners to have access to our product.
And obviously we recommend DMI, right?
100%.
We love Josh. We love DMI. So absolutely. So a great way to find out more about that would be to contact Josh directly. His information is going to be posted towards the end of the webinar. And, you could find out about DMI, see if it's a good fit for you, have access to this great product, education, and thought leadership. Sean Pierce wants to comment that with high taxes and how high taxes have been, the main feature that he sees with IUL is the tax-free income. Is there a specific part within the Lyft program that talks about taxes specifically?
Yes, good question. Right here, great question. Right here's a place where you can talk about taxes. Also, I'll show you another place on Maya Nexus. We have a lot of marketing collateral around taxes. I'll show you that. Good question, Sean. And in here, you can communicate. You can another fact finder. This is not quite the one I want, but where is it? In here, maybe this one here. There is a different, this one here, Sean. This is a good one for you. It shows just the effective tax rate and what happens the more money you make. So right, Sean, it's about how much money you keep. It may be, you may accumulate more money in one product versus another, but the time you start taking the income out, you may get less. So very, very good question. Also on Maya Nexus right here, where you're finding Lyft, you'll see here is Securian. You'll go down here, there's product information about our product. Once you have access to, you can look at that, the different strategies in our product. And then over here, there's sales concept, Sean. And in here, you'll see, for example, here's the different layers. Maybe this is good for you, the different layers of taxation. So there's 4 or 5 pieces in there, Sean, that really specifically hit taxation hard. So really good question.
Excellent. Then we do have one more question. I'm going to let, obviously, Josh field this. David was wondering about an IUL that DMI can talk about that is used to offer LTC benefits. And I know we just had a big webinar on an asset-based LTC.
Yeah, we have a couple of those, but we did have one recently. I mean, I'll drop carrier names because there's a couple that really stand out. Nationwide has an outstanding one. And again, it's all about what the client is trying to solve for. And if they come to you and say, hey, long-term care is the primary focus, then we have carriers such as Nationwide that has an excellent hybrid life insurance long-term care benefit that will maximize the long-term care benefit while still giving them a death benefit if they don't live to the point where they realize the need for long-term care benefit. And there's a return of premium feature. So we find these products to be much more palatable than traditional long-term care products because you're guaranteed to get some benefit from it. But ultimately, the main objective, the long-term care benefit, is very, very meaningful. So do follow up with me on those. We have a number of solutions for those that we feel are extremely competitive.
On our product, you guys also add both products. The terminal illness, the chronic, and the critical illness are included. On the securing product and the Nationwide product, you can add a pay-for-play long-term care rider. The Nationwide, like Josh says, it is an indemnity style. A lot of people love that. That does have some cost. Any riders you add to a IUL you're trying to build for cash will take away from that, right? It will take any rider you add. So typically you'll see some advisors really love to add the long-term care rider and don't mind the cost a little bit. Others advisors will say, well, if the client's young enough, my cash value bucket, my cash value, like Josh mentioned, can be used for a long-term care event that may be 20, 30, 40 years down the road. You can do that. You can add it on. You can also not add it on, leave that alone as more what you're trying to solve for the client, maybe an income play, and maybe do a standalone, another product with DMI and Josh and that. So you can solve that several different ways. There's no right or wrong answer, in my opinion, professionally. The key is just to solve for that issue somehow by leveraging products where they fit.
And that's why product selection is important and the product design is important. And we encourage you to lean on us. So you can go about your day. You call us and say, here's what I got. Here's what we're looking for. We'll be your back office and doing the product design and the product selection. And then we'll circle back around with you with a call. That's what we do all day for our advisors and our agents.
How about a couple more questions? Got a few more minutes. We love questions.
I'm sorry. Do you have IUL and the death benefit? I know we talked about that, but I mean, IUL is really complicated. It's a big product. Is it really overkill for a death benefit?
It's just an important part of the design of it because it allows, like Josh mentioned, there's no penalty for 59.5. It allows for the tax-free income like David mentioned. So the death benefit is in our design, what you'll typically get, Maureen, which is a really good question. We typically minimize the death benefit. We do min non-met quite a bit. There is a lot of circumstances where you won't do minimum death benefit. You may do more than the minimum death benefit, what the client is doing in the beginning. Let's say they're going to save $10,000 a year for 20 years. That may solve for a death benefit. If the person was young enough, it might limit their capacity, the amount of money they can add to the policy over time. So even though 10,000 solve for, let's say, make an example, $300,000 of death benefit, you may sell the client 400, 500, 600,000 because you want them to have the room. So the death benefit, the way I think of it in this product, is the permission slip for all the other benefits that we talked about. It's not the reason for it, but in my professional opinion, I played a lot of claims in my life. I've been in the business since '86. It's just funny how life happens, and that death benefit comes in handy. And when you least expect it, I guess it can come in handy. But in our design specifically, in our products, it's more meant to use it as we said, as a financial tool for other issues.
And that's really the basis of this.
Yeah, I would.
Life is a death benefit. Of course, it's life insurance, but really we're talking about almost like life as an asset class, right? It's its own big entity with IUL, and it can be so much more. So it really just depends on what your client's needs are.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, you may have to. You may sell them. So you may overfund IUL, and you may do a term policy, or you may do IUL, and you may do GUL, whatever you got. What's nice about DMI and what's nice about Josh is you can be very, agnostic, product agnostic. You can really be a fiduciary, which we all are. We all talk about it, but we need to practice that more. We can be a fiduciary. We can take time to do a fact finder. We can take time to put ourselves in our client's shoes, not our shoes, not what we know. We want to put ourselves in our client's shoes, figure out what their needs are, and then try to find the best solution we can for them. And Josh and DMI, that's what they do every single day, and that's what they're great at.
Well, guys, it's been fantastic. Steven, Josh, really appreciate it. And then all the engagement today, we really appreciate it. Fantastic. I wanted to mention one thing because, Josh, Steve, you both talk a lot about client discovery and how important that is, right? So we do have a series of webinars coming up that we do not have posted yet on DMI University, all about estate planning. So a lot of you, probably you've either thought or maybe you have built relationships with estate planners in the past. Sometimes that relationship works out, sometimes it doesn't. We've just built a relationship with a nationally recognized partner that will allow us to deliver at a discounted rate an estate planning software that's client facing that will make it really easy for you to do estate plans for your clients. So Josh, I know is very interested in this and can speak to that if you do have some questions, even though we haven't put the series out, just the notion that you can do that. I want to throw that out there. I don't know, Josh, if that's worth commenting on, if you want to say anything about that.
Yeah, the estate planning piece of it's great because you offer an amazing solution to your clients and everybody needs some type of estate plan. So we're doing a good deed by them by offering that. You can learn more about how it will benefit you and your practice as well. But then as Glenn pointed out, the fact finding, the uncovering assets, you might learn more about what you didn't know they had because they have to list that to make sure everything's covered in an estate plan. So a lot of people in doing this, they find additional assets under management, additional sources of income to plan for. So everybody wins. And again, at the end of the day, for the client, it's just an amazing tool. So
yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. And everybody that's on this call today will get an invite. It's a 4-part series. I'd urge you to go if you are interested in that. Or at least try the first one and see if it's your cup of tea. And then, and I don't know, I think it's going to be a really interesting webinar, and we'll give you good follow-up as you go through it. And actually, if you miss one of the webinars, you'll be able to go back to a portal and watch the archives of the recorded webinars and that kind of thing. So, but I want to share Josh's contact information so you guys can take a snapshot of that, or jot down a note here. Stand by 1 second. As you can imagine, Josh is a really nice guy to work with. It's great to have him on board at DMI, and he's just as consultative as you would imagine based on what you saw today. So I don't know. I think we've answered a lot of good questions today. I don't think we have anything else to cover unless Steve or Josh, you want to leave with any final thoughts.
Yeah, I have one. We're going to do another webinar, right? What's called Bold, and that's going to be, please join us for that. We're going to be working on that for you guys. So that's Bold. That's also part of what we went over in Lift. There's another section called Bold. That's an advanced planning part of Securion's website that will cover that. There's a lot of tools there. There's estate planning pieces in there as well, Glenn. So we'll just kind of go through that next time, show you what that looks like. I'm going to give give you all the tools you need to succeed with your client. Everybody talks about doing advanced planning, but sometimes it's hard to get into. So there's some nice pieces there. Estate planning is a huge, executive bonus, things like that. Key person. That's all part of the next series. We'll just kind of share that information next time. So make sure you jump on the call when we're together again, please. And I really enjoyed being here. And thank you for inviting me, you guys.
Hey, thank you, Stephen. I really appreciate it. And Josh, thank you so much, sir. But yeah, go to dmiuniversity.com. Stephen brought up a good point. That Bold webinar, you don't want to miss that. Our calendar is up there on dmiuniversity.com/webinars. So look forward to seeing you again, and have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks, Maureen. Thanks, Josh. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.